going to start this off by giving congratulations to my alma mater, the University of Arizona Wildcats, in defeating the Arizona State Sun Devils 31-10 to earn their first bowl berth in about 10 years. I'd also like to say that we need to enjoy this while we can and not to get our expectations too high. In fact, for all of you who are fans of certain schools which are considered basketball schools, do not get your expectations above a certain level on a consistent basis. I've come up with a theory, and it's based on a lot of years of observation and analysis. And that theory is that schools that are perceived to be basketball schools cannot or not set up to achieve long-term success in football. And this is borne out by the facts. Let's take a look, shall we? There are 6 really prominent basketball schools. That is, the flagship program is the basketball team A, and the second criterion is they've achieved a lot of success in basketball, but they also have football as well. Now, these schools would be North Carolina, Duke, UConn, Arizona, Kentucky, Kansas, and I'll also throw in Indiana and Michigan State. Now, go to your Wikipedia, your media guides, and look over the past 10, 15, 20 years. And what do you see with any of these programs? Duke, how many times have they been to a bowl game? Let's move on. Indiana, ditto. Michigan State, they've had some good success, but have you ever seen them go, say, win 9 games in 3 consecutive seasons? Same for the University of Arizona, my alma mater. Kansas, Kentucky. The list goes on. Now, the reason I think for this is that maybe for some reason the top football recruits do not want to go to schools that for whatever reason, are perceived as basketball schools because they want to be top dog. Now, this obviously does not work in the reverse. Look in recent years, just over the past 15, 20 years, schools like Michigan, Florida, Ohio State, football schools, and even LSU have achieved great success in basketball. So the argument does not work in the reverse. But Kansas has never seen sustained success. Last year they got to the Orange Bowl, won against a very good Virginia Tech school, which is a football school. And this year, with many of the same guys coming back, with the exception of their defensive stud at cornerback, they finished 5-7, all being a very good Big 12. Arizona, we went 12-1 in 1998. Had a great that was our best season over the course of the 90s. The rest of that decade, we didn't have a season where we won more than 8 games, despite the prominence of the Desert Swarm defense. Duke, I don't want to even mention them. Antoine Randall, and those years with Indiana, those were their best years, but look, they haven't done much since. And even Michigan State, you have the Lorenzo White years, and they're going to a pretty good bowl game this year. But Michigan State, mark my words, especially over the past 30 years and even in the future, they will never have 3 straight 10-win seasons. That is what qualifies you as competing at an elite level in football and being yourself a national powerhouse. What the Floridas and the Florida States and the Miamis have achieved, the USCs have achieved. The one exception of this rule, I think, will be UCLA. They can kind of break that mold, but it has a lot to do with the location. They're in Los Angeles. They're in Westwood. But the flagship program is the basketball program. But even they haven't achieved that success consistently with all those geographic and logistical advantages. So to all my fans at the University of Arizona, all fellow alumni and fans and students at those other particular schools, I would say temper your expectations. Because when you do get to a bowl game, no matter what it is, that's going to be as good as it gets for a long while. And you don't need to expect much more. On the flip side.